Lionsgate definitely did the devil's work with this Devil's Rejects 4K Steelbook, but is it worth it if you've already got the movie on Blu-ray? Let's talk about it. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Mid-Level Media Channel. This is your hub for everything physical media and entertainment. And today, guys, we're going to be talking about the Lionsgate Steelbook, 4K Steelbook of Rob Zombie's The Devil's Rejects. Look at this, guys. It's a beautiful Steelbook. I do want to point out that this is not a Lionsgate limited exclusive. This is exclusive on Amazon. I'll have it linked down below. I also want to point out that this is only available on 4K Steelbook. You cannot get a standard version of this for a little bit cheaper. You have to get this on Amazon on Steelbook form for $34.99, which is a little bit disappointing in my opinion. You guys know if you've been watching the channel, I am not for Steelbook only releases. I am not a huge fan of that. I also want to point out I was sent this by Lionsgate. Okay, they sent this to me to review for you guys. I did not pay for this myself. But I will be 100% honest with this release and my thoughts on this release. I'm going to give you the good. I'm going to give you the bad. There may be some ugly as well, but we're going to talk about all aspects of this release today because these reviews, guys, are to help you make the most informed purchasing decisions that you can possibly make. Okay, I want to make sure that you guys know the details of this. Again, the good, the bad, the ugly. There is some controversy right now with this release and the fact that they did not do the unrated cut on 4K. Hell, they didn't even put the unrated cut in here. And with the Blu-ray, the previous Blu-ray, that's all it has is the unrated cut. So this is actually the theatrical cut on both Blu-ray and 4K. But like I said, we're going to get into it. We're going to talk about the movie. We're going to talk about the 4K. We're going to talk about special features. All that good stuff, guys. We're going to do an unboxing. This is, like I said, it's a beautiful Steelbook. Did I get all the pre-review stuff out of the way? All the YouTube stuff? I did. Subscribe, guys. Did you subscribe yet? I hope that you did. All right, let's talk about this movie. Growing up in middle school, I owned the Hellbilly, is that how you pronounce it? Deluxe CD. I was a big Rob Zombie fan when I was in middle school. So when he started making movies, I was all in. I was excited. I saw House of a Thousand Corpses and I loved that movie. I remember that one came out, I think, in 2002, 2003, somewhere around there. And then he followed that up with The Devil's Rejects. I was in the theater to see this, I think, opening nights or opening weekend at least. And I remember really liking this movie. I thought it was better than House of a Thousand Corpses. I don't feel that way anymore. And I hadn't seen this movie in probably 10 to 15 years. When I watch this movie now, something about it, it makes me feel like it's kind of a knockoff of like a Quentin Tarantino film. Like there's so much I know Quentin didn't direct From Dusk Till Dawn, but he did partially write it. And there's so much like From Dusk Till Dawn in this movie, I feel like, in particular the first half of From Dusk Till Dawn, that it almost feels like a ripoff of that movie when I'm watching. I mean, you have the psychotic group that's going around, they kidnap the family. The only difference is I don't care about any of the like family characters in this movie because they all just seem like they're all so unlikable. And there's just something about Zombie and how he writes his characters and his dialogue. It's like, does the family have to be just as disgusting in their dialogue as the actual psychopaths that are going after him? It just doesn't completely work to me. So the dialogue in this film just doesn't work for me anymore. I still like the movie overall. I like the performances of the actual Firefly family. I like Sid Haig as Captain Spaulding. I like Bill Moseley. I think Sherry Moon Zombie. This might be her best performance, honestly. Well, this one and House of a Thousand Corpses. But I don't know. I guess maybe the older I get, and I revisited House a couple of years ago when they put out that box set edition, which I wish they would have done for this one, just so it could match on the shelf. But when I revisited that movie, I was like, this one actually holds up really well. And I really like House of a Thousand Corpses, and I think I like it now more than this film. But this is still a good movie. I just think it kind of comes off as like generic Quentin Tarantino stuff. And it's more brutal for sure, but I feel it feels brutal, more brutal just for being more brutal's sake. Like there's no like actual content or substance behind it. So I hope I didn't make anybody mad with that. I like the movie. To me, it just, I don't know, it doesn't gel like House of a Thousand Corpses does. Like that movie feels kind of original. Yeah, that one's kind of more of a Texas Chainsaw Massacre ripoff, Toby Hooper ripoff a little bit, but it adds enough different to kind of make it stand on its own. So I do like House a little bit better than The Devil's Rejects. Yeah, that's my thoughts on the movie. Let's get into the 4K because there's a lot of discussion going on around this 4K. Is this a movie that needs a 4K? I mean, it was shot on 16 millimeter. It was finished as a 2K digital intermediate. They are promoting this as a native 4K restoration. It's got Dolby Vision. It's got HDR10. But you have to imagine that if it was finished as a 2K digital intermediate, unless they went back and just reconstructed everything, I don't see how they did that native 4K restoration. This feels like it was probably an upscale to me. But maybe not. Maybe they did go back and they did the full work and the restoration for this. So it was shot on 60 millimeter, finished as a 2K digital intermediate, and then it was put on 35 millimeter to show in theaters. So the reason that they shot it on 16 millimeter is that Rob Zombie really wanted, this was his decision, he really wanted that old school 70s grindhouse grit style. Like that is what he was going for with this movie. House of a Thousand Corpses was shot on 35 millimeter, but with this movie, he wanted more of that 70s, like grindy, gritty style. A lot of people weren't sure about how this would look on 4K. I think it's a solid 4K. You know, I went back and I compared it to this Blu-ray. This is a very old Blu-ray. I think this came out back in 2008, 2009. I bought this Blu-ray recently. I can't say that I've seen this movie in its entirety on Blu-ray. I own the DVD forever, and I got rid of it like back in 2015, 2016 when I got rid of all my DVDs. And it took me a while to rebuy this one, and I rebought it this year actually. Then they announced the 4K. So I'm like, all right, well, when I rewatch it, I want it to be on 4K. You know, I popped this in just to check out, you know, the look of it, how it looked on Blu-ray. And I think at the end of the day, like it's as far as like the overall clarity, they're kind of similar, but it's the HDR and the Dolby Vision that really bring this one to life. And you have those like brighter sequences in the daytime, you have those darker sequences at night. And I really think that Dolby Vision and that HDR really does a lot to enhance the picture, to add that density, that depth in the picture quality, those deep blacks, those whites, those wider ranges of color. You know, when they're all dancing around in Ken Foree's, you know, horror house towards the end of the film, and there's all the lights, the neon lights, all that stuff looks incredibly, you know, good in 4K with that HDR, that the wider ranges of colors. And when they do, like, when Rob Zombie, like, actually, you know, steadies the camera and he like points it to actual like characters and he lingers on them and allows the film to breathe. He's not constantly like editing and everything's so disjointed. You can barely see stuff, quick cuts everywhere. When he's not doing that stuff, you know, it looks really good. It does. Like when he's actually steadying on the characters, like there is some incredible detail. There's incredible depth to the picture. Like you can feel like you can actually reach out and touch it in a way that's not, you know, present on the Blu-ray. Like again, the overall clarity of it, you know, if you don't have that good, nice 4K setup, if you don't have a 4K player that's capable of doing Dolby Vision, if you don't have an OLED, guys, you're probably not going to notice a super extreme difference between the two. But the OLED really enhances that HDR and makes you notice it like you wouldn't on a regular 4K TV. So I think when you pop in this Blu-ray, it has a very light and fluffy look to it, and it's a lot brighter and it's a lot duller as far as the colors are concerned. But the clarity is there. Like it doesn't look bad as far as the clarity, but and the same with this one. The clarity is good, but I did notice like the up close facial shots, in particular, like the end when they're riding in the car towards their inevitable doom. And there's a lot of close-up shots in their faces as they're just kind of sitting in the car, all worn out from the events of the film. And there's a lot of great detail in those up-close shots of Baby, Sherry Moon Zombie, of Sid Haig, of you know, Otis. So there's a lot of great detail in those up-close shots towards the end of the film. But I think it's the HDR and the Dolby Vision that really enhances the quality here. They're both very gritty and grimy. as far as that. Like, you're still going to get the fuzzy imagery, the grits of that 16 millimeter in the 4K, the same as you got in the Blu-ray. But again, it's the HDR and the Dolby Vision that really brings it to life on 4K in a way that it wasn't before on Blu-ray. So let's go ahead and get into the controversy with this release and just give it a very fair, balanced examination. Okay, so the unrated cut is on the Blu-ray. And I can't remember what the DVD was. Did it have the unrated? Did it have the theatrical? Let me know in the comment section below. I really can't remember. I feel like it had the unrated as well, because it also had the documentary that is on here, or at least one of the DVD editions has the documentary that is on this Steelbook release right here that is not on the Blu-ray. So this one has the unrated. This has the theatrical. This one does not have the theatrical. This one does not have the unrated. So when it comes to the unrated, Lionsgate, and I remember reaching out to Lionsgate, the person, my contact at Lionsgate, and I asked them straight up, why could you all not do the unrated? People are talking about it. People are upset about it. And they basically just told me that they did not have the original elements anymore. They lost them. They're nowhere to be found. Why that is, I don't know. I couldn't answer that. And they didn't seem to want to answer that either. So I just know that from what I was told, they do not have those original elements for the unrated cut. Now, you may be asking, Ken, well, why couldn't they at least include it in this? You know, put it on the Blu-ray disc as just kind of like a special feature and just have both cuts on the Blu-ray disc. I can't answer that. And to be honest, like, that's my kind of criticism with this, because I do believe they could have, because it exists. It's here in this. They could have put the unrated cut on the Blu-ray disc at least, with the theatrical cut on Blu-ray with a 4K scan, just included it as a special feature, or just put it in here as an additional disc. The hell, they could have put it on the documentary as well. So they could have put the unrated cut on here. I just don't understand why they didn't at least include it on Blu-ray, even if it was the same Blu-ray quality that came out back in the day. So for that, I agree with you guys on the criticism. Then there's people asking, well, you know, we've seen with Arrow Video and other labels like Scream Factory as well, like Silent Night, Deadly Night's a pretty notable one, where they will splice, even though they couldn't properly restore it, they'll splice in those unrated scenes into the actual, you know, theatrical cut, and they'll kind of, you know, do the 4K and cut back and forth between the 4K and the Blu-ray and that kind of thing. They'll splice in those, you know, unrestored scenes into the actual 4K restoration. And here's the thing with that, like with stuff like Silent Night, Deadly Night, because I looked this up, there's like 57 cuts. Like, there's 57 things that they took away as far as the unrated. Like, and it's a lot of just extra blood and gore scenes, maybe some extra nudity scenes and things like that. But it's mostly like extra blood and gore, like just lingering on a bloody face for a little bit longer, stuff like that. So apparently there was 57 cuts to get this from an unrated cut, from an unrated to an R rating, which is what they were going for. So to get it from unrated to R rated, they had to make 57 cuts. So to add in 57, to splice in 57 Blu-ray, you know, Blu-ray quality shots in with the 4K might be a little bit jarring to watch, because you're going back and forth. Because I think with Silent Night, Deadly Night, some of the other films, there's maybe just a handful of scenes that they put in and out. And even that's kind of jarring. Like, when you're watching the unrated Silent Night, Deadly Night, to see it go from Blu-ray to VHS quality is kind of jarring to watch. Now, the differences wouldn't be that extreme, like to go back and forth between 4K and Blu-ray wouldn't be that extreme, and most people might not even notice it. But for those that would notice it, I imagine there would be a certain level of criticism with that. Like, oh my God, this is so difficult to watch. You're going back and forth between 4K and Blu-ray, and it's 57 times, and it's just very jarring to watch that. I don't know. Like, I feel like maybe they could have done that, but it would have been a ton of extra work to do. And maybe they just didn't feel that the juice was worth the squeeze in that particular case. So, you know, it is what it is at the end of the day, guys. They didn't have the original elements for the unrated cut, so they didn't do it on 4K. Now, diving into the sound here, guys, you have the DTS HD Master Audio 5.1. I'm pretty sure that's the same audio that was present in the Blu-ray release right here. I don't think that there was any audio upgrade with this. And it sounds great. I mean, it's got tons of gunfire and actiony kind of heavy moments, and the soundtrack is incredible. So sound-wise, it sounds fantastic. I had no issues with the sound. Getting into the unboxing, guys, let's get into it. Look, here at the end of the day, guys, like most people, like if you're just a super Rob Zombie fan, you want this for the collectible steelbook rights. And a lot of people, when it comes to getting these nice premium editions, like they just want a nice upgrade from this regular standard Blu-ray, like a nice upgrade packaging wise, something that they can put on the shelf and feel proud of, something that feels like a definitive edition for a movie that they love. And Lionsgate absolutely nails that with this steelbook. So you got the front right there, you got the side, you got the back, you got the synopsis up there at the top. I will point out the back is very similar, to the fronts. Like you got that same shot, just with a different background. So that's pretty cool that they kind of put that on the back. And then you zoom in. I do want to point out, we can go ahead and talk about the special features right now while I'm doing this unboxing, but there's nothing new in terms of special features. Most of the special features here, I think, are from the DVD release from back in the day, and a lot of those features weren't even included on this Blu-ray right here. Maybe they were included on another Blu-ray, but they weren't included on the Blu-ray that I have in my collection. So a lot of these special features you might be getting those back for the first time since the DVD era. So special features wise, all the same commentaries as before, all the same past features. You got deleted scenes, theatrical trailers, all that good stuff. Now, the big thing that this adds, look at that artwork, guys. It's incredible artwork, is the documentary 30 Days in Hell, which came out with the DVD release back in 2005. So that actually came out with the home video release back in 2005. But I think this is the first time this is back on disc since that DVD release. So this will be in a little bit better quality because it's on Blu-ray instead of DVD. So that's worth mentioning as well. And then you got all the discs on the inside. So you've got the 4K. I do like the white right here, and I unboxed this on a live stream the other night, so I apologize if you've already seen it or heard me talk about this, but I like the white right there. It's very cool. I like the green aesthetic to the Blu-ray disc. Like I said, this Blu-ray disc is different than the other Blu-ray Lionsgate disc. And then you've got the documentary, which I did not watch. I honestly haven't seen this documentary, so I will watch this at a later date. It's like 2 hours and 20 minutes. So very cool that they included this, though, in here. And then you got some nice interior artwork as well. And then we'll flip it around and show you the full picture of the artwork on the back. And then on the inside, guys, I almost forgot to show these off. They got art cards. There is a digital code as well. But you got art cards on the inside. Look at that. And I haven't seen Lionsgate do art cards since, I want to say, Young Guns was the last one. And those were like playing cards. So yeah, these are very cool. Nice artistic drawings and stuff. Very nice. And then on the back, you've actually got some stuff from the script, it looks like cutouts from the script, which is pretty cool. You got Captain Spaulding right there. So it really just depends, how big of a fan are you of this film? I'd say if you're just a modest fan, if you're just a casual fan of The Devil's Rejects, you got it on Blu-ray, you're probably fine. I mean, this is perfectly watchable on Blu-ray. But I will say the 4K is a nice upgrade of that past Blu-ray. And again, you get an upgrade as well with the Blu-ray. But if you're a fan, because there's a lot of purists of this film as well, if you're a fan of that unrated cut, it's not present here. And I have to imagine that's a bummer. And you're going to have to keep your Blu-ray anyway. So for even for fans, like massive fans, they're going to be a little reluctant to pick this up because it's not going to be their preferred cut. Which, again, like for me, it doesn't matter, but I totally get it because I have gone so hard on that edition that Shout Factory did of Ace Ventura. Like, I hate that they did not include the dolphin trainer scene. That's a part of the movie for me. And for some people with this film, the extra blood and gore, that's a part of the film. That's a part of the experience. So if you don't want to get it because of that, again, I completely understand. But there were reasons that Lionsgate provided. And like I said, multiple cuts, edits in the movie that would have been really hard to kind of splice in with the 4K. So at the end of the day, it just kind of is what it is. This is the release theatrical cut on 4K for the first time. Nice steelbook. Let me know, guys. What do you think? Are you going to get this release in the comment section below? Don't forget to subscribe, like, turn on bell notifications for all future videos, and follow me on all my social media accounts. Those links are down below in the description, and we'll see you next time.